This week, together with Joe Garrett, our lead chaplain at Wesley Mission, I was able to have the most extraordinary conversation with some really amazing and inspiring people. They're part of our Wesley Dalmar team. And when I talked with Jess and Tom and Beck and Maddie, I just heard such amazing passion. People are asking, where's the church right now? Is the church just online? People watching sermons and listening to music? Well, it's true. We're not gathering for worship, but the church is at work. The church is at work right now in this time. And these four who we had this conversation with, with their permission, we're going to share just a little glimpse of that conversation. It was an hour-long conversation, and I want to share with you just a few minutes so you get a sense of their passion, of their care, and a sense of the love that is flowing through them. Love for kids who have no home to stay at, no safe place, no place that will nurture them, embrace them right now. And we're walking alongside them together with some amazing foster carers. We're walking alongside them and just sharing that love, hope, and compassion with them. I want to share this conversation with you because I know that some of you are feeling like you're stuck. You want to do more. Can I tell you, I'm not going to make a fundraising ask. I'm not going to ask you to send a donation, but I am going to offer you an opportunity to take part in what God is doing. There's no question, if you read in Scripture, that God has a heart for children who have no safe home, who have no one to tell them, I love you. We can do that together. We can be part of a journey of healing and renewal for them, with them. And I want to offer you that opportunity. But first, I just want to give you this opportunity just to eavesdrop on this conversation that I had with these amazing people.
Look, for me, the reason why I do what I do is because I'm a big picture person, and I genuinely want to see what I can do about it, bringing about some social change. And so, what drives me are the little things in that. We're talking about, being able to get Sam back to her family, being able to get her home after, been having to be taken away from her mum because she was really struggling with things at that point in her life, being able to get, Michael and John back, to their adoptive parents, that's amazing as well. So that gives me that. So, being able to afford stability to these kids, being able to help repair some of the fractures that we see in society. We can try and bring people together and bring some harmony to a world that, especially through this pandemic, is definitely a little bit lacking.
As a case manager, I get to have quite a lot of direct contact with kids. And I think I had a couple of assumptions when I first started this role about, okay, these kids have lived very difficult lives. And I had an assumption about the types of kids that these, or the behaviors that they might have, etc. And then when I started meeting them and sitting down with them, and, I was just saying, these are just normal kids. These are just kids, little Annie, she's got a crush on a boy for the first time, or, teenager John, he's getting into rap music, or little Ali, she is taking her first steps. And, these are the milestones that I'm like, these kids deserve the best, the absolute number one thing. A lot of the reason that these kids are in out-of-home care or in foster care is because they have previously been in a place that is unsafe. So the absolute one thing that we say is safety is what they need. But beyond safety, it's that love and it's that support. It is speaking life over these kids who have often had different narratives spoken over their lives. It's speaking life and hope into them. Sometimes they can be really tricky conversations too, They can be conversations that sometimes will bring up some of the past and can be really difficult to work through. But I think, I really take my hat off to all of the beautiful carers that we have, and they do such an incredible job about just walking alongside with these kids and journeying through some of those really, really tricky times. And just this unconditional love. It's really beautiful to watch.
So what we do in Wesley Dalmar is we basically try and afford kids a stable and safe home. You know, we try and take them from environments where they need a lot of help and support, and, you know, their families, for whatever reason, aren't able to give it to them at the point in time. We try and give them somewhere that enables them to feel safe. You know, we're talking about kids that are incredibly scared, you know, looking at a child and, you know, seeing that they need that love, that affection, that support, and their parents just can't do it for whatever reason. You know, being able to take that on board and own that and give these kids love, you know, hold them and tell them that it'll be okay. You know, that's what we need. And, you know, I'll tell you a quick story if I can, Rick. I had to, you know, go and meet this kid for the first time, meet them for the first time, and collect him and take him to a new place. And so, you know, that little boy's name was Harry. And I'll never forget, you know, he sat in the car with me for over an hour. He got in the car just fine. You know, we sort of left, and the carers left me at the door and said, "Here, bye." And here's his little bag. And it's, you know, it was kind of a professional kind of moment, I guess. He'd only been there for a day or two, and got in my car, and he slowly started to warm up along the journey, pointing out his favorite cars and trucks and all these sorts of things and these colors, you know, "Oh, look, red car." And, you know, that was, he was kind of warming up, and that was really lovely. But then when we got to the place that we were going to, we got him out of the car, and he just hid behind me. You know, he'd obviously bonded to me in that moment, in that hour, and that's all it took. And then I was going to break that again, you know, and it just breaks my heart to think about that moment for all of these kids. And, you know, I'll never forget that the carer come out of her home and took his little hand and took him inside. And it was just that warmth that we need.
Yeah.
And, you know, it just, yeah, he was afraid. But with that encouragement, really meant he could grow. And he went and he played. And, you know, I would go back, I think I went back the next day, and then the day, 2 days after that. And, you know, there was new carers as well. And so we were trying to support them. And I'd just sit there and watch this little kid play with her and play with her other little kids, and just see that sort of naturally unfold. And I think, you know, I would sit there and I'd just have a tea with her, and I'd just talk about how it was going, and, you know, how this little kid would start to push all the buttons in the home and take toys from one of the other kids, and, you know, do all of that sort of stuff. But listening to those struggles, those behaviors of concern that were really starting to be annoying, were lovely. You know, that's what you want in little kids. You know, he was young. This is exactly what you should expect. And seeing that come out is also what you want, as hard as it is for a parent to deal with or a carer to deal with. It's natural. And when you see natural, you see normal, you know that things are good. And that to me is just inspirational.
You know, we've got so many amazing foster carers, and they also are the ones that help you get through what you're doing, because you know that you've got these amazing people that are living it, you know, all for the same outcome, is trying to help these children shape their lives, you know, make a difference. Yeah, it's just, yeah, there's so many things that keep you going, you know, to be part of a wonderful organisation like Wesley as well. You don't stay in, you know, places that long if, you know, you don't have the support from, you know, great leaders and staff. And yeah, you know, there's a lot that helps us. We're all there for the same reasons. And
so I've been working with foster carers at Wesley Douma for over 12 years now. So I've worked with hundreds of different foster carers, and the foster carers that do it well are foster carers that can meet the child at where the child's at. So it could be developmental, it could be emotional, it could be both. It could be, you know, that child's particularly stuck in an area of their life, but we need carers that are able to work through that. So, you know, as both Tom and Beck have mentioned, you know, persistence, and you're going to come up against boundaries, you're going to come up against hard times, but it's being able to be resilient and adaptable and flexible, and to work through that and push through that, and to actually really draw on your support network. So we're after carers who have stability in their own personal lives, but who have a big support network around them, and who aren't willing to put their hand up and say, hey, I need some help, this is hard. So we look for those attributes, I guess, when we're assessing foster carers, but also, you know, a high level of emotional intelligence to understand that level of hurt, that level of mistrust with caregivers, because that's essentially what these kids have. You know, they've had people in their lives that have let them down. So we need people to be able to stand up and really support them.
So there's a lot of siblings, young siblings, like Tom said, you know, 4 and 6 year olds that are having to be separated because there's no capacity for people to take more than one child. And yeah, that's one of the biggest challenges. I hate, it's a very strong word, but it's really, really hard to, you know, have to say, oh, I've got a carer available, but it's only available for the 3-year-old, knowing that its sibling is going to have to be taken away from them. You think of the children and how traumatic it would be to be removed from their birth family, and not only that, to be removed, you know, sorry, I get emotional, to be separated from their siblings, from, you know, a little 2-year-old having to be separated from its 4 and 6-year-old sibling. It's just, yeah, it's just heartbreaking.
Something that I come across when I'm working with carers or when I'm first meeting carers who, you know, have tossed around the idea of becoming a foster carer, but have shied away from, you know, the potential loss that they might experience. So they talk about, you know, I've always wanted to become a foster carer, but I'm afraid that I'll become too attached. And I feel like it's those carers that we actually need. We need carers who are willing to be vulnerable and willing to, I guess, attach to children. We're as human beings, we need to have attachments in order to meet our full potential. And I feel like they're the carers that we actually need, the ones that are too scared to be vulnerable, the ones that are too scared to attach themselves to children. And essentially that's the type of carer that we actually need.
We need really excellent foster carers, and that's a really important part of this work. You can be part of the team, connected with the kind of people that you just met on this video, and I would love to open that conversation with you, to be able to connect you personally with people who can just help you to explore whether that's something that might be a new chapter in your life right now in this time. And even if you don't know whether that's right for you, or maybe you know that it's not right for you, maybe you know somebody who it might be for. Maybe somebody in your church, maybe a neighbor across the fence, somebody that you might be able to share this video with, who might have it on their heart to explore what it might mean to open their heart and their home to a child who needs to know that they're loved. If you would like to find out more, please send me an email at christianlife@wesleymission.org.au, and I'll make sure that I introduce you to somebody who can help you to explore that journey, and one of our great staff who can open up for you what those opportunities might look like. But until then, I pray that you would lift up all these kids in your prayers, that they would know the love that God pours out to all of us, and they would know that they are especially cherished. I invite you to be praying for them today, and I pray that you do have a hope-filled